age of coronavirus, many businesses and workplaces are now asking people to sign a COVID-19 liability waiver, trying to protect themselves from new risks during the pandemic. But before you sign on the dotted line, what are your legal rights, and should you think twice about signing one of these? And joining us right now with more on this is our good friend and legal analyst, Whitney Boan. Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Good to see you, Amy. Good morning. I'm great. Thanks.
All right. So what should someone ask before they sign one of these waivers? What do you want people to know?
Okay, first of all, it seems overwhelming because it's got a lot of legal power to it in a sense, but these are contracts. So instead of looking at it like this is a liability waiver, as a consumer, I would look at it like this is a contract, which means both parties have to have agreement for it to exist. So that means as a consumer, you have a voice and you have a choice. And so as your voice, you should ask questions like, I understand that you are concerned about your business and liability in this crazy time, but I need to know what you're going to be doing to protect me. And ask those questions. And if you're not getting answers, then I would not sign it, because that is your answer if you're not getting an answer. As far as a choice goes, trust your instincts. You know, you don't have to go to businesses that aren't willing to protect you. Yes, it may be an inconvenience, but better to be safe than sorry. It's better in these times to make choices that are informed by your being your own advocate than to trust businesses to take care of you when your health is at stake.
So, Whitney, what if you've been working from home and you're about ready to, go back to the office? They're starting to bring people back, and your boss says, oh, before you come back, you need to sign one of these waivers. How would you feel about that?
That's a different ball game. And again, understanding that we're in the infant stages of any sort of litigation or case law that's going to give us authority legally as to how these matters are going to be handled. I would look at it in this way, though. I mean, as an employee, even if your employer forces you to sign one of these prior to coming back, I have some questions about the enforceability of it, because there is unequal bargaining power in that situation. It's much different than being a consumer, where you do have more of a choice about whether or not you go to a business. You may not have as much choice about whether or not you keep your livelihood and go to work. So I think courts are going to be a little critical of that, especially where businesses aren't doing their part or employers aren't doing their part to protect you as an employee.
And could they, Whitney, is it possible if you say, look, I don't want to sign the waiver, I'm not comfortable with that, could they then say, okay, well, then you can't come back to work, or even maybe they get rid of you?
They could, but again, I mean, I would advise you in that situation as an employee working for an employer who does that to you to definitely speak with a lawyer as quickly as possible who specializes in employment law, because you may have some legal recourses that involve your being able to seek action against your employer.
All right, and say you sign one, you go back to work, you get to work and you realize, well, they're not doing anything to protect us around here, and there's no hand sanitizer around, they're not making people wear masks, and then you do get sick. Do you still have rights then, or have you signed them away?
I don't think, like I said, I don't think that it's going to be as clear-cut in employment or situations where they've asked you to sign one of these waivers when it gets to court in terms of your legal rights, because I think that asking an employee to sign something like that at the risk of losing their job could be viewed by courts as being unequal bargaining power, where you were kind of forced into signing it, and it isn't really a fair playing field because you have no choice, basically. But I do think that, there are going to be some issues in litigation that are going to surround the issue of causality. In other words, how do you prove where you got it? So I think employers are going to have some safeguards there in terms of being able to say, well, how do you prove that they got it here? Obviously, I think some situations that may be a little more clear than others, but I do think that'll be a big defense that employers are able to use if this ends in litigation for people.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's hard to fight something you can't even see with the naked eye. Oh, what a mess, Whitney. We're all in.
Yeah.
I'll be ready for when it's over.
Me too. I tell you what.
Thank you so much, Whitney Boan. As always, we love having you.
Thank you.
All right.